if you're logging in later through the archives. I hope you enjoy and you have a good practice also. So this morning will be a foundation Hatha class. That's our kind of beginner friendly, beginner accessible class. And this will be a slight different take and variation upon that again. This class will be focused on small movements. So small movements that help to build towards bigger movements, both in the physical practice and also within everyday life. So just helping you to move with greater ease in everyday life. So these small movements that we'll be focusing on create a lot of freedom. Additionally, in this morning's practice, we'll be focusing on what's called resonance breathing. If you practice with me on a regular basis in general classes, you may be familiar with this style of breath. For those of you who are not, or just for a quick refresher, I'll give you a brief idea of what is resonance breathing. So resonance breathing is a certain count of breath. In everyday life we can breathe anywhere from 18 up to 24 or plus breaths per minute, which can be quite a high breath count. But we're going to work towards the intention of slowing it down to 5 or even to 6 breaths per minute. So how we'll do this is with an even inhale and exhale, in and out through the nose if you can, and breathing a full yogic breath. So we're working with the intention of utilising the full capacity of our lungs, our lower, our middle and our upper lobes. How the breath count will work is I'll start with a shorter count. For instance, breathing in, 2, breathing out, 2. Then I'll progress to breathing 3, breathing 4 and perhaps breathing 5. And it's very essential that you only work to the point that's comfortable for you, that the inhale and the exhale is attainable. If you find that you're coming to the longer counts with me and you're struggling to get it over the line, please don't force. Be with a shorter count. It may be a little challenging as you'll be counting one thing in your head and I'll be suggesting another count, but it'll serve you greater in the long run. So to get started, we'll get started a little differently also today. You can remain in a seated position if you've come to a seated position already, but if it feels good for this morning, I'll encourage you to be in a lying down position, and this can be in many variations. So you can be on your back, lying flat. You can have the legs straight or the knees bent, paying particular attention to the back of the ribs. Is there space between the back of the ribs and the mat? You want to lessen the space, but not due to force or fight. Just softly dropping the ribs as best you can, and the chin is softly drawn back towards the neck. If this is very challenging for you, if your ribs are elevated, if your chin is up, perhaps you can place a small pillow around the neck, around the back of the head and the upper back, and you can be here. You can have your hands out to the sides of the body, the palms face up perhaps. Or you can tune into the body's reaction with one hand resting on the belly and one hand resting on the ribs. So you can choose any variety of variations, whichever is best for you for this morning. Take a moment to readjust. And once you feel like that you have, or that you're even beginning to arrive, allow the eyes to close. The mouth closes. And give yourself a few moments to really arrive, to land. And as you work towards creating a little space for yourself and space for your practice, know that you're not trying to suppress, you're not trying to fight or push away any thoughts. Allow thoughts to arise, allow thoughts to pass. You don't ever truly draw your awareness towards your practice, but become aware of the physical body. As you allow your awareness to come all the way down to your toes, and just notice how the body feels at the toes. If body feels good, if there's any tension, any holding, anywhere in between. Continue to make this inquiry up through the ankles, through the calf muscles, noticing the response through the knees, through the thighs, the buttock muscle, the whole of the pelvic region. As you notice how body feels, from toes to hips, through the lower limbs. As you allow your awareness to move up through the back of the body, very back of the hips, Move through the lower back, that gentle arch at the lumbar region. Notice how body feels here. Any tension, any holding, body feels good. Moving up and through the middle back, the upper back. Allow your awareness to move through the shoulder blades. Release any unnecessary holding. Sweep around the front of the body as your awareness rests in the belly. Notice if there's any holding, any tension in the belly. Allow belly to be free. Moving up and through the ribs. Extending through the chest. Into the shoulders. Allow your awareness to descend down through the upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist, palm, tips of fingers. Notice if there's any holding, if there's any gripping in the hands. Allow the hands to be spacious, to be free. Allow your awareness to move up and through the neck. Front of neck, side of neck, back of neck. And noting if there's any unnecessary holding in the deep facial muscles of the jaw. The chin, the tongue, the nose, moving through the ears, any holding, any unnecessary grip of tension around the eyes, the forehead, and the crown of the head, the whole body. The whole body. And from this whole body awareness, allow your attention to return softly to the crown of the head. And move into the head space with a mental inquiry of how am I feeling? How has your week been? How is that influencing the condition of the mind? Are you feeling rested this morning? Are you feeling agitated? Are you feeling bored? Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling content? Just notice. From this beautifully attuned awareness about the physical body and the mind, and draw the attention upon the breath. As you simply witness the breath at the very tip of the nose, notice sensation, notice the flow of the breath, experiencing inhale and experiencing the inhale, the exhale even, without trying to force, without trying to create. And know that you can remain here. And it's just witnessing on the breath brings beautiful focus to the mind. We'll fall as well, we'll work through a few gentle rounds of that resonance breathing. Always remembering to work in within your comfortable limits. Only going to the count that you can attain the even inhale and exhale with ease. No pressure, no force. If you're familiar and comfortable with Ujjayi breathing, you can apply it and layer that on top. But notice which works best for you. Breathing in, 2. Breathing out, 2. Breathing in, 2. Breathing out, 2. Breathing 3, 2, 3. Breathing out, 2, 3. Breathing in, 2, 3. Breathing out, 2, 3. Breathing in, 2, 3. Breathing out, 2, 3. Breathing 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 2, 2, 3, 4, breathing 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release the effort on the breath. Just allow the breath to settle for a moment. And just witness. After just over 3 minutes of conscious breathing, what's the response? If you're with me for the count of 5, your breath will slow down to 6 breaths per minute. But no matter where you are, just recognize the response, recognize the reaction. From the awareness of the breath and the body's response to the conscious breathing, to the resonance breathing, allow your awareness to travel down the body until it arrives at the toes. A little ripple of movement in the toes, welcome the feet back. Similar ripple of movement in the fingers, welcome the hands back. A gentle roll of the head from side to side. As you softly extend the right arm up overhead and behind, left hand to the belly. The left leg is straight, with a bend in the right knee, or perhaps even straighten the right leg and bending the left knee. And gently roll to your right. Come onto your side for a moment. And there's no rush. Eyes remaining closed. And once you feel steady, no trace of dizziness, gently push up. Eyes remaining closed, come to any seated variation. Legs can be out in front as you need to. Hand support as required. Namaskara Mudra. If it's comfortable, palms lightly press in front of the chest. As you take a moment to set an intention, a sankalpa or dedication for your practice. Release your hands. Chin drops towards the chest and a few gentle blinks, opening of the eyes. Namaste. we'll softly raise the knees up. Maintain the legs crossed over or crossing the legs over if you're not already there. Knees come high, thighs in towards your chest. Please be aware you can have hand support behind as you need to. Progressing towards the thighs, then the shins, then a wrist or a forearm. Sit nice and tall, really lift and lengthen your spine. And we'll return to putting a conscious effort into the breathing. In through the nose and out through the nose as best you can, but no pressure or force. So if you release the clasp of the hands if you're there. We'll unravel the legs and we'll take the feet out in front. You have a number of variations. You're taking the feet out in front to the point that the feet can be firmly grounded. So your hip distance apart and maybe a little wider. If you're rolling onto the outer edge, can you ground the inner edge? Likewise, if the inner edge is rolling, can you keep the outer edge grounding? You can have hand support behind you if you need to and you can lean away. And if it's necessary, you can also pop something underneath the bum. You can put out another yoga mat if it's accessible or a pillow. Another option is with the hands ready, you can hook underneath the shins. Now our awareness comes all the way into our toes. If you find it challenging for our beloved toe movements, with both feet work at one foot at a time. Don't fight for it. As you inhale, raise all 10 toes up or all of your toes up. Exhale, releasing down. Inhale, raising the toes. Exhale, releasing down. Inhale, raising all of the toes. On your next exhale, welcome just your big toes to ground. Inhale, re-raising. Exhale, grounding. And be there for a moment. As you ground your big toes, can you keep the outer edge of the foot grounding or you're rolling onto the inner edge? Allow breath to flow. Next inhale, re-raising the big toes. We'll endeavour to keep the big toes up now. Your next exhale, second to little toe to ground. Inhale, elevate it up. Exhale, second to little toe to ground. We'll endeavour to be there. Your focus now, as well as bringing the toes to the ground, is keeping the inner edge of the foot grounding. So around the ball of the foot. Breathe. Next inhale, re-elevating the second to little toe. As you exhale, welcome big toes and welcome little toes to the ground. The three lads in between. As best you can, remain lifting. Beautiful. Exhale, grounding the three middle toes. All of your toes are grounded. Release the hands up from underneath the legs for a brief moment. Straighten your left leg out, maintain the right knee bent. A number of variations. If it's challenging for you to maintain here, you could also have the hands behind. You could straighten the right leg out and you can work with the right leg from this position. For instance, you'd be rotating the ankle. But if all is well, you work with a bent knee. You hook your right arm underneath the right leg, the hands can come to clasp, and you raise the right foot a small distance above the mat. Now you want to keep the right shin rather steady. If needs be, you can even have the left hand resting on the shin. And it's 2 small rotations through the ankle. Now it's slower than you think. Smaller than you think perhaps as well. Rotation in one direction, allowing the breath to flow. Rotation, rotation even in the opposite direction. No movement through the shin, no movement through the knee. Once you've completed your second round in the opposite direction, point your foot, then wag your foot. Perhaps there will be a response in the arch of the foot and the base of the toes. Super. Come to rest with your wagging. Draw your toes back towards the shin, push the heel away. Welcome the heel to the ground. If you're in this position where the leg is so straight, perhaps you bend the knee now. If comfortable, keep the right arm underneath and slide the right heel back towards you. So a few points to note. The right heel is sliding firmly back towards the buttock muscle and the foot is also flexed, so the toes are coming back towards the shin. Many of you are aware that the knee flexes and extends, but also there's a little twist and a movement through the knee. So as best we can, we'll keep the foot pointing back towards us. You turn the foot out and turn the foot in. So no movement in the shin. Turn the foot out, turn the foot in, turning the foot out, turning the foot in. Back to center, ground the right foot, release the arm from underneath, extend the right leg straight if you're with a bent knee, and changing sides, we'll bend the left knee. Ground the foot if necessary, leg maintain straight, Hands behind if you need to. If comfortable, hook the left arm underneath. The hands can come to clasp and you can raise the left foot up. Perhaps the right hand is resting in front of the shin to keep the shin steady. And 2 small steady rotations through the ankle in one direction. Slower than you think. With all of the joint movements, if there's any pinching, any discomfort, please don't move through or into and through this pain. Move around, make smaller rotation. Changing direction once you've completed 2. Allowing the breath to flow. Once you've completed your second, point the foot, then wag the foot. Beautiful. Come to rest with your wagging. Push the heel away, toes back towards you. Grounding the right heel now, bending the knee if you haven't already done so. The heel draws back towards the buttock muscle. If comfortable, the left arm is swept underneath. If necessary, you can be working from a position where your hands are behind you. You can work from this point. If comfortable, the left arm is there. The palms lightly pressing. The toes are also flexing back towards the shin. You're turning the foot in, turning the foot out. Maybe just small movement. Turning the foot in, turning the foot out, turning the foot in, turning the foot out. And back to center. Ground the left foot, allow the foot to move a little bit away from the body so you can release the left arm, but we will keep a bend in the left knee. Bend the right knee also. You can take your hands behind you and you can lean back into the hands, but notice they're not collapsing through the chest. The chest is just a little lifted. This is good. Take your feet to be a little wider. A little wider soles of the feet to face front. If you have any challenge on the hip or through the groin, you work a little easier, don't fight for that. You'll work with the right leg initially. So what you want to do as best you can is raise the right heel, point the toes, then ground the foot, then dropping the right knee in. Internally rotating, but you're only coming to the point where you can keep the outer edge of the right buttock muscle grounded. For instance, if I was to drop my knee in further and I was allowed the bum to raise up off the mat, I'm no longer moving from the hip. I'm now moving from the waist to lower back region. So as best you can, only coming into the point where you keep the outer edge of the buttock muscle grounded. As you exhale, releasing out, right sole of the foot to face front. As you inhale, point the left toes, lift the heel. Ground the left foot, drop the left knee in, each side being different. As you exhale, sole of the foot to face front, dropping the knee out, keep the chest a little lifted. Inhale the right, point the foot, dropping the knee in. Exhale, release it out, sole of the foot to face front. Inhale, point the left foot, dropping the knee in, but no pinching, please don't move into pain. Exhale, sole of the foot to face front, dropping the knee out. Inhale the right. Exhale, dropping it out. Inhale left. Exhale, releasing it out. Walk your hands back towards you, so you're lifting your spine. Crossing the legs over. You're aware you can come front whichever way is necessary. For instance, you could sweep your legs around to the side and come front. If you're playing around and it's accessible, cross the legs over, hands front, raise tall in the knees. Then unravel the legs. No rush. Come front in whichever way is necessary for you. Once you've come front, take a moment to set up. Shoulder over the wrist with the fingers well spread. If that presents a challenge for you, hands front as you need to lessen the challenge on the wrist, or play around with making fists. Take your knees to be underneath the hips initially so your thighs are vertical, then they go wider from that point. So your wrists, your knees and your toes are working in a straight line. This feels good here. Round the entire spine. Keep the shoulders over the wrist, your middle and upper back is lifting, and our awareness, our attention is going to come into the lower back. So it'll be a slight tilt and tuck through the pelvis and small movement to be perceived through the lower back region only. We'll move with the breath in. So as you exhale even, tilt the pelvis a little front so there's a mild arch of the lower back. As you exhale, slight tuck under. As you inhale, perceive the belly works a little bit towards the mat, but you still maintain the middle to upper back rounding. Exhale, tuck it under. Think smaller movement. Inhale, slight tilt. Exhale, slight tuck. belly to light, drop lightly towards the mat, bring your gaze a little front. Bend at the knee, any degree is welcome. If comfortable, you're sitting all the way back in the heel. You can maintain the hands where they are. We'll just be here for a brief moment, taking a little rest. Breathe. Beautiful. Next inhale, softly raise up. Shoulder over the wrist, bringing the middle and the upper back also into the equation, but we'll move real slow and steady. We'll think the head is the last thing to move. As you inhale, the movement just went through, so you're arching through your lower back, feel the belly work towards the mat. Then begin to experience the middle back, the upper back, lifting the chest slightly, and gaze up just a touch. Head is the last thing to release as you exhale around your lower back, slower than you think. Middle back, upper back, then release the head. Breathe as much as you need to if you can coordinate. Inhale, arch the lower back, head is going to be the last thing to move. Middle back, upper back, lifting of the head slightly. Exhale, head is the last thing to release around the lower back. Middle back, upper back, then release the head, rounding up the spine. Inhale, arch lower. Middle, upper, lifting of the head. Exhale, around lower, head last thing to release. Middle, upper, release the head, rounding of the spine. Beautiful. Inhale back to an easy spine. Steady and control as best you can. Bend at the knee, sitting back. Any degree is welcome. Be here for a moment. Recognize response in lower back, all the way through upper back into neck. Next inhale, re-raising on the hands and the knees. We'll bring our awareness into those muscles that sit softly in between the shoulder blades and the spine, the rhomboid muscles. It's a very subtle movement. We'll endeavour to keep the arms straight as we work, thinking more upper back movement, so try not to arch too much with the lower back. As best you can, arms remain straight. As you exhale, allow your chest to drop down in between the shoulders. As a result, the shoulder blades passively come together. You're not actively squeezing to any degree. As you inhale, really push out. Push away the mat. Feel that rounding through the upper back. The shoulder blades spread apart. As you exhale, dropping down. Can your thumbs spread apart? As you inhale, push out. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And be there for a moment. If very comfortable, even release the head. And be there and breathe. Checking through your elbows bending to any degree as best you can. Arms working a little straighter. Release the head. Steady breath. Experience how you maintain it as you breathe, how the shoulder blades little by little come together even further. Beautiful. Lifting the head slightly as you inhale, push out. Bringing the knees and the feet together, then gently sit back. Coming into Vajrasana, a thunderbolt pose, sitting nice and tall. I do appreciate this position can be quite challenging to maintain. If it is challenging or inaccessible for you, please don't fight. You can be tall on your knees so you can stand really tall, or you can come to any seated variation with support as you need to. Don't force for depth. If it feels good, you're mindfully challenging your practice, you're here. We'll have a bend in the elbows. You're thinking your shoulder, your elbow and your wrists are working in a straight line, the palms are facing down. Now this is good here, just moving through your thumbs. Slower than you think. Rotating through your thumbs in one direction. Then into the index fingers, so just the index fingers as best you can moving. Then just the middle fingers. Then just your ring fingers. Then just your little fingers. What's the response? Little fingers in opposite direction. Ring fingers opposite direction or working towards. Middle fingers. Index fingers. Thumbs. Beautiful. Breath is flowing the entire time. Keep the right hand where it is. Now flip the palm to face the ceiling. Bring your left palm to grab your right forearm and make a fist with the right hand. You're still working shoulder, elbow, wrist in line. Recognize if your arm is turning in or if your arm is turning out. You want to maintain this neutral central alignment as best you can. The left hand will grab the right forearm. Now the intention is movement through the wrist. Often when we intend to move through the wrist, the forearm will turn. So that will no longer be moving through the wrist, it will be moving through the elbow. Often when the joints are sticky, they become bound together and they want to move together. So when we move through the wrist, smaller rotation and keep the forearm steady. The left hand is assisting with the steadiness of the forearm. Going in a clockwise direction for 2 rotations. Slower than you think. No bending at the elbow, no movement of the forearm. If there's any movement, make the rotation smaller. Likewise, if there's any discomfort, make the rotation smaller. 2 in one direction, 2 in the opposite direction. Really focusing on your right wrist. Beautiful. Once you've completed, you can release the right fingers, release the clasp of the forearm. Bring the left arm to the same position, shoulder, elbow, wrist in a line, palm faces up, and you make a fist. The right hand clasps onto the forearm, it keeps the forearm steady. 2 rotations in one direction. Allow your breath to flow. Recognize the forearm doesn't turn to any degree. Then change direction. Beautiful. And back to center. Release the left fingers. Keep the left arm where it is, however. Bring the right arm, returning into this position. Shoulder, elbow, wrist in line. Making fists. And turn those fists to face each other. The right and left fists face each other. Without bending at the elbow to any degree. Rock your knuckles down. Rock your knuckles up. Rocking knuckles down. Rocking knuckles up. Allow the breath to flow. Back to center without taking the forearms apart. Rock your knuckles out. So notice there's no distance created between the forearms. Rock your knuckles in. Rock your knuckles out. Rock your knuckles in. Be there for a moment. Long and steady breath. Back to center. Release the hands. Flip the palms to face down. Raise on your knees if you're not already there. Take your knees to about hip distance apart. So any challenge in the knees, please do double over the mat as you need to. Bring the elbows close to the body. The palms face down. They rest in the thighs. As you inhale, keep the elbows close to the body. Bend at the elbows as much as you can. At the top, flip the palms to face you. As you exhale, release down. Inhale, bend at the elbow. At the top, flip the palms to face out. Exhale, releasing down. Inhale, bend at the elbow. At the top, flip the palms to face you. Exhale, releasing down. Inhale, flip the palm. Exhale, release down. Take your hands out to either side. Moving through the shoulder. The palms will flip, but you want to think moving from the bicep. We're going to turn the hands in opposite, or the arms even in opposite direction. Any challenge in the shoulder, arms lower, still pinching or discomfort, bring the arms front. Allow the breath to flow in your own time. One bicep is turning back, one bicep is turning in. Slower, steadier movement. Recognize if the shoulder begins to elevate up towards the ear. This will be the shoulder blade getting involved. Can you be just before that point? So if we come to rest with the movement through the shoulders, or release the hands down. Stay on the knees. We'll bring the hands and the thighs to as best you can. Movement through the shoulder blade now. The hands remain on the thighs, trying to prevent front and backward movement, trying to prevent bending at the elbow also. Gaze is front, chin is set a little back. As you inhale, retract your shoulders back, elevate your shoulders up. As you exhale, front and down. Really slow it down, coordinate with the movement, the breath. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, front and down. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, front and down. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, front and down. Pause there for a moment. Inhale, elevate up from that point. Exhale, retract back and down. Inhale, front and up. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, front and up. Exhale, back and down. Shoulders free. You can stay on your knees, but it feels good and it's accessible for you, knees and feet together, and softly sitting back on your heels. If this is a challenge and you see the variation as you were in a previous moment ago, take the hands to the hips. This feels good. Take the hands behind, go for opposite wrist, forearm or elbow. The intention is a full rotation through the neck. If you have any challenge in the neck, please work with care. Make the rotation smaller as you need to. We'll drop our chin towards our chest. With the chin down, look for the right shoulder. Almost a little behind. This is good. You lift the chin at this angle. Once you've elevated to your comfortable degree, smoothly draw a big circle on the ceiling with your chin. If there's any pinching, drop the chin towards the chest. Don't force, don't move through pain. Looking for your left shoulder. Drop the chin down past the left collarbone. Coming to the base of the throat. We'll continue to the right. 2 rotations. Lift the chin. Slowly rotate through. To your left, drop the chin down past the collarbone. Come to base of throat. Once you've arrived, there's no rush, you will change directions. With the chin down, past the left collarbone, look for the shoulder even behind. Then lift the chin up from this angle. Once you've arrived, draw a big circle on the ceiling. To your right. Look for the shoulder, drop the chin down past the collarbone. Base of throat. Continue to your left, chin down, look for the left shoulder. Lift the chin, no pressure, no force. Drawing a circle on the ceiling. Look for the right shoulder. Chin down past the collarbone, base of throat. No rush to arriving. Once you've arrived, lift your head, gaze is straight. Chin draws a little back. Release the hands out to the side, palms to face front. Have a medium bend in the elbows, grab an imaginary glass or bottle of something and endeavour to pour that out behind. Not only are you endeavouring to pour the vessel out, the imaginary vessel in your hands out behind you, you're almost trying to lift the elbow a little. But this lift is not as a result of you lifting your ribs. We're trying to disassociate the movement and the connection, the intimate connection between the shoulder and the rib cage. So as best you can, you come into this pour out movement, but you keep your sternum held back. If very comfortable, if you have any challenge in the shoulders, please work with care. Don't fight for depth. As you inhale, raise the arms up. Keeping this medium bend in the elbow. As you exhale, dropping it down. Particularly as you raise up, recognize if the ribs want to come along. Still in the pouring out motion, still trying to lift the elbow a little front. Inhale, raising it up. Exhale, releasing it down. Coming back to that midpoint, the original starting position. If this is very comfortable here, ramp your chin directly back. So you're an exaggerated double chin. Then glide your face front into your phone, into your text neck, into your laptop. Double chin it, really ramp it back. And this is good, come front and up in an arc. Then down and back, double chin. Leave the chin come a little front, then releasing of the hands. Shoulders free. Come front. Hands on the knees. The tiger breathing setup where you were a previous moment ago early in your practice. Shoulder over the wrist if you can, working towards, spreading the fingers. Knees as wide as your wrist, toes in line with your knees. We're imagining that there's a point in between the knees. A point in between the hands, making small circles around these points which come together in a figure of 8. Slower and steadier than you think. Start with the hips, the lower body. Make a half a circle around the point in between the knees. Make a full circle around the point in between the hands. Then complete your bottom circle, bringing together the figure of 8. Then continue in this direction and just inquiring into your body's reaction. As you circle back, your hips, outer and inner, the response of your knee. As you come front, the wrist, shoulder, shoulder blade. Then changing direction. As you change, you start with smaller rotations. Little challenge in the coordination. No fight for depth. Excuse me. Breath flows. Feels good. The rotations begin to go a little bigger, more exaggerated. Beautiful. Then back to center. Shoulder over wrist as best you can. Drop the head down. Are your toes still in line with your knees, or have they come together? They can be here, but a little practice in there in toe to knee alignment. As you exhale, bend at the knees, smoothly pushing back. Inhale, raising up, shoulder over wrist. Exhale, pushing back, sitting on the heel if you can, working towards that depth. Inhale, raising up. Exhale, pushing back. Inhale, raising up. Feels good here. Few steady movements of your tiger breathing. Movement through the entire spine. As you inhale, arch the lower back, middle back, upper back. Lightly lift the head. Exhale, around the lower back, middle back, upper back. Release the head and rounding of the spine. Inhale, arch. Spreading of the fingers. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Next inhale, come to an easy spine. Allow the belly to drop lightly. Bend at the knees, sitting back as much as comfortable for you. Allow the forearm and elbow to come to the mat. Flip the palms to face up. If it feels good, you can release the head and just be here for 3 steady breaths. Breath flows in and out through the nose. Beautiful. Re-raising of the head if you've released. Flipping the palms back over, really spread the fingers and raise back up on the hands and the knees. Now you can continue with the variation we just went through on all fours, but if it's comfortable for you, bringing your knees and bringing your feet together. Mindfully apply, no force or fight. This is good. You can extend the right leg back, tuck the toes, and you can work from here. And on the exhale, you just be softly bending the knee. If it feels good, however, I'll encourage you to raise your leg almost towards parallel. Gaze slightly front. As you exhale, bend at the right knee, round the spine, knee to nose. Recognize that your shoulders are still maintaining over the wrist, you're not pushing back. As you inhale, extend the right leg straight, gaze extended a little front. Exhale, around, knee to nose. Inhale, extend it back. Exhale, around. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, extend the right leg straight. Then ground the toes. Bend the knee. And softly sitting back, keeping the hands where they are if comfortable. No fight in the knee, the ankle or the hip as you push back. Take a few moments, just notice the body's response. Your breath is still steady. Fingers are still spread. Next inhale, softly raise up, shoulder over the wrist, balancing your practice. Extend the left leg straight, toes are tucked. You can work from this point and softly bring the knee to the ground on the exhale. If comfortable, you're working with a raised leg. Gaze touch front. As you exhale, bend at the knee, knee to the nose, rounding the spine. Inhale, extend it straight. Exhale, round. Inhale, extend. Exhale, round. Inhale, extend. Exhale, round. Inhale, extend. Exhale, ground the left foot. Then the knee. Knees wider, as wide as your mat if you can, big towards the touch. The intention is sitting all the way back in the heel. Then without raising up the hips, extend your arms as far front as you can. Pushing away the mat and forward hit the ground if the arms are extended out in front. Alternatively, you can stack the palms or stack fists to provide support for the forward if it's challenging to bring down, and your hips can be higher as you need to. A few steady breaths. Beautiful. Next inhale, lift the head, gazes front. And whichever way is necessary for you, straighten your legs up behind and come front and onto your belly. But no rush to our life here. Excuse me. This is good here. Bringing your arms into a cactus arm alignment. So there's a bend in the elbows. Your elbow to your shoulder are in line. Elbows to shoulders are in line on either side. If you have any challenge in your shoulders, please work a little easier. Recognize the steps I'm going to take to come in. It's a little challenge in the coordination, so don't force. Turn your gaze to your right initially. Look at your right elbow. Your elbow's in line with your shoulder. Keep the bend in the 90-degree bend in the arm, but just raise the elbow up to be a little higher than that shoulder line. When you raise it up higher, you want to keep the front of the shoulder working to the ground. You're not intentionally pushing into the ground, but intending to work towards keeping the shoulder going in that direction. This is good here. Turn your gaze to your left. Bring your left palm to the ground, almost in line with the chest. The right side of the head can now rest. If this feels good, your intention is still with keeping right shoulder working towards the ground, but not pushing it there. Use the left hand to push the body, so you roll onto your right side. But don't fight. Recognize the response in the front of the right chest, the front of the shoulder. If this feels steady here, the left foot, which is stacked on top of the right as you roll onto the side of the body, you can bend the left knee, and you can ground the knee. Feels good, you raise it up a little higher. The left knee is working towards the left wrist. And be there for a moment. There's no pressure on your neck. There's no pressure or force on the shoulder. Stretch perhaps to be experienced on the front of the chest, around the front of the shoulder. Breath is long, breath is soft. Beautiful. With care, softly bring the left foot back to stack on top of the right. Re-rolling onto your belly now. Grounding your left elbow once more. So the elbow and shoulder in a line, the 90-degree cactus arm. And your right arm, you can drop that elbow down again. If this is good here, your gaze is maintained to your left for a moment. You keep the 90-degree bend in the elbow, but you shift the elbow a little upward, up a little north of the shoulder line. Left, front and left shoulder still working to ground. If this feels good, you turn your gaze to your right now. Your attention's with your right hand. You bring the right hand to be almost in line with the chest, the palm is grounding, elbow points up. Push the right hand into the mat. The feet begin to stack on top of each other and the intention is rolling onto the left side now. But don't fight for that. Front and left shoulder still working towards the ground. Notice where you experience the reaction. This is good here, bending the right knee. Any degree is welcomed. If comfortable, your right thigh, your right knee is coming up close to the right wrist. I'll be there for a moment. Steadiness in your breath.
Superb. Keep steady to the right hand, pushing lightly into the mat. Send the right foot back to stack on top of the left. Then re-rolling on your belly. You can keep the right hand where it is as you turn your chin or your forehead to centre and bring your left hand to either side of the chest. So the right palm and the left palm either side of the chest. Take the feet a little wider apart. Now you can come back in whichever way is necessary for you, just playing. Roll the shoulder as you inhale, raise the head, raise the chest. As you exhale, tuck the toes, keep the distance between the hands and the feet. Bend the knee. Push the hip up and back. Now you can have your knees grounded and be in the resting warrior. If it feels good, you're just coming up to a mild downward facing dog. The knees can be bent, particularly if you find it's challenging in the shoulder, lower back. Feels good, straighter leg. Super. Bend the knees a little, gaze is front. The intention is a seated position, then on our back. You can arrive in whichever way is necessary for you. Little practice, right knee, right wrist, shin diagonally across the body. The left shin stacks on top. And smoothly sit back. And then roll back. Mindful if there's any solid objects behind you. Excuse me. Coming onto your back. And a little rolling side to side. It's a softer roll. Super. Gently come to rest with the rolling. Keep the bend in the knees and welcome the soles of the feet to the mat. Hands down by the sides of the body initially. Just to the point so that you can just slide your heels in. So where the heels almost stand on the fingertips, your knee is almost over the ankle, working towards that alignment. Chin draws back towards the neck and your sternum is drawn back. And this is good here. Pushing the feet actively into the mat. Smoothly raise the back of the hip. So as if you're coming into the bridge pose, but you're just at the very first level of that, where the back of the hips and the lower back is raised. And you can check in with your hands that it's just the back of the hips and that your middle back and upper back are firmly grounded. The intention is maintaining this alignment initially. The middle back in particular is grounding and you're just experiencing the lower back grounded. If this feels good here, we'll keep the feet firm. We want to push the hips slightly side to side. So hips are slightly moving side to side. You're just thinking smaller distance. You're feeling like your middle back is still grounding. Beautiful. Now this feels good here. You pause here for a moment. We want to get a little twisted through the pelvis. So essentially what we'll be doing is we'll be hiking one side of the pelvis up higher than the other. Twisting it up higher than the other. Your hands can come to the side of your hips now if you like. So you can feel that the hips, one hip is coming up a little higher than not the other. But like all of the movements we went through today, we've been thinking smaller movement. If you move too quickly, you'll often move through discomfort. We'll skip over movement, so working a little slower. Allow the breath to flow. Super. Come to rest here for a moment, keeping the lower back still a little lifted. The next movement through the pelvis will be hiking up of the pelvis. So you'll be shortening one side of the waist and lengthening the other side of the waist. Also to perceive that the knees may move a little away from each other. The hands can be on the hip. You're hiking one side of the pelvis. Up to be a little higher than the other. So essentially your hip is moving up towards your shoulder and your hip is drawing down away from the shoulder. A slower, steadier movement. Super. Coming to rest with this movement also. Checking in that the middle back is still grounding, lower back still elevating. If you need to take rest, please do so. If this feels good here, there will be a tilt of the pelvis and a tuck of the pelvis. A slight tilt of the pelvis and a slight tuck of the pelvis. Allow the breath to flow. You can use your hands as a little guide if necessary, either side of the waist or the hips. Beautiful. If you've brought your hands to your hips, softly release your hands down by the sides. On your next inhale, as you tuck the pelvis under, raise your lower back, raise your middle back, raise the upper back. Exhale, rolling down, upper, middle, lower. Inhale, pressurize the feet engaged, lower body smoothly push the hip. Exhale, rolling down. Inhale, push the hip. Exhale, rolling down. Smoothly rolling down. Once you're fully grounded, extend the arms out to the side. If you have the space, shoulder height, arms are straight, finger to shoulder line, palms are down. If necessary, cactus arms or hands to the belly if space is restricted. Feet together, toes and heels to touch. Keep the bend in the knee. Raise the right leg up, hook the right thigh over the left. Next exhale, release your knees to your right. If comfortable for the neck, gaze to your left. Be there for a moment. Your intention is grounding the back of the left shoulder. If you find that your left shoulder is raised up off the mat, bring the legs back closer towards centre line, to where you can feel a grounding of the shoulder. Then get twisted from there. Inhale, center. Exhale, release. Inhale the left, raise the leg up, hook the left thigh over the right, thigh and thigh. Exhale, knees to your left now. Feels good, gaze to your right. Inhale, back to center. Unraveling the legs. Draw your thighs lightly in towards your chest. A little rolling side to side. And all is well here. Gently roll onto your right side or your left. Be there for a moment. When you feel steady, there's no trace of dizziness, gently push up and come to a seated position. Now the intention from here is we're going to come to the wall. If you don't have appropriate wall space at home, perhaps you can come to a couch or so on support, or if there's a chair close, anywhere that you can elevate your legs up. I'll demonstrate how we'll come in. We'll come legs to the wall for a few steady breaths. If you have the space, you can bring your mat to the wall. You can have the short edge of the mat resting against the wall. We sit at the side of the wall. So the side of the hip is leaning against the wall, and the intention here is when we swivel around that the bum will be as close to the wall as we can, but there will be a few points to note that may be a necessity to come further away from the wall. So once you've come to the side of the wall, the hip is as close as you can. There's a little shimmy and a little swivel, swiveling all the way around and extending your legs up straight. Now, even though the first intention is having the bum rather close to the wall, if you notice that your ribs, so that middle back, check in if that middle back is lifting and it can come down with ease if there's strength required, force required, perhaps you scoot away from the wall further. Likewise with the chin. If your chin is elevated up towards the ceiling and it's a challenge to drop back towards the neck if you're using a little bit of force, scoot further away from the wall. And we'll be here. Hands can be out from the sides of the body, palms face up. Or perhaps one hand is on the belly, another hand is on the ribs or on the chest. And be there for a moment. Extend your breath. Long and steady breathing out through the nose. Feel the beautiful reaction as the blood flows effortlessly down back to the heart. If any of you have been walking recently, no doubt many of you are doing extra walks. This can be a beautiful relief for the legs. Let in the breath. is good. You can take the feet apart, whichever distance best for you. You don't have to go 2 meters apart, but you can go whatever depth or whatever weight is best and comfortable for you. Again, you're checking in. Where's the ribs? Are the ribs after elevating up? Is the chin after elevating up? Readjusting to where the ribs can be comfortably grounded, chin grounded. If your pillow, like maybe if it was necessary to start your practice, you could have that lightly placed under the head and the upper back. Breath flows. Beautiful. If this feels good, you're welcome to be here or the previous variation. If it feels good, you bring your feet a little closer. Bring the soles of the feet together, you allow the knees to drop out. If you find this challenging on your inner knee, on your hip or your groin, please revert back to the legs wide, or perhaps his legs simply straight up is tremendous. Beautiful. This is good. Ground the feet. Now my apologies. Bring the feet on the wall. So the soles of the feet just ground on the wall itself. It's a good bend in the knee. Draw your thighs lightly in towards your chest. Softly roll to your side, your right or your left. There's no rush. You can, however, remain there if that feels good, with the legs up, or perhaps you gently readjust and come to Shavasana. Extend out where you are, coming to your desired position of rest, end of your practice. Any lying down position is welcomed, on your back, knees bent, legs straight, on your side or on your front. If you're at the wall and it feels good, you don't want to move from there, you could also remain there. No matter where you choose to be, eyes closed, mouth closed, adjust the body. And as you come towards the end of your practice, you're stepping towards being completely effortless. The less effort you apply throughout the practice of Yoga Nidra, the more beneficial. You don't even have to pay attention to the words that I'm saying. Just holding an intention to keep a link with my voice. As you release and rest. And when you can feel that there's a steadiness to be perceived, a stillness, allow it to move through and to hold your entire body. Hold the body is held within this stillness. And within this stillness, know that you have done enough. There's nowhere you need to be right now. Nothing to be done. By simply being here is more than enough. And within this beautiful freedom, within this allowing, which is at the heart of your yoga nidra, your yogic sleep, extend your awareness upon the breath. And on the inhale, perhaps the breath travels up the front of the body. And on the exhale, down the back. Inhaling up the front, exhaling down the back. And on your next exhale, as the breath descends the back of the body, allow it to come all the way down
and rest at the soles of the feet. Allow your awareness to be at the soles of the feet. And with your awareness resting within the deep stillness of the soles of the feet, remembering what it feels like to have the feet firmly grounded and firmly rooted upon the earth. What it's like for your legs to be upon your feet, torso to be upon the legs, arms to be held by the shoulders, neck to grow out of the torso, and for the head to balance effortlessly on top of the neck. Remembering what it feels like for gravity to flow with ease throughout the body. And you create an awareness of the essence of grounding that gravity brings with it. As you feel and experience this grounding within the muscles, the bones, and the joints, note where you experience this grounding the most. Then be there for a moment. And wherever you experience this grounding the most, wherever the deep well of grounding originates within the body, encourage it to radiate out until your whole body is filled. Whole body is filled with this grounding at the same depth and intensity at where you experienced it the most. Whole body is grounded. And this grounding is something that will serve you throughout the rest of your day, your weekend, a resource you can return to at any moment. And from this position of deep rest, from this position of grounding, extend your awareness to be greater than the body. And as it transitions beyond, allow it to move towards a more everyday, a more engaged awareness. This awareness begins to influence the breath into being a little fuller, a little more conscious. Feel how the breath awakens the body. It stirs stillness. Stirs stillness at toes, fingers, up into the neck or chin rolls, shoulder to shoulder. As you bring your feet softly back together, extending your arms up overhead and behind, begin at your feet, point your toes in your feet, and your legs, take a big inhale, belly, shoulder, fingers, top, neck, lower body. Exhale, release. Right arm remains extended, left to belly, folding at the right knee, left knee even gently roll to your right. Come on to your side. And once you feel steady, little hand support, push up. Any seated variation is welcomed. Spine is lifted as best you can, but hand support as you need to, legs as required. Coming to the end of your practice. Not any difference at the start. Drawing your palms together. Rubbing your palms generates some heat or welcome back nervous system. Placing your hands over your eyes, gently cup. And extend a massage of the eyes, the nose, the cheekbone, the temple. Take your hands a small distance away from your eyes and gently blink your eyes open, gaze into your palms. Namaste. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a happy Easter. I hope you have a good day. If you were with me live, do comment down below. It's always nice to see if anybody was practicing along with me. If you're practicing later, I hope you have a good practice. Thank you so much.